Hello, my name is Wandia Gichuru and I am the CEO of Vivo Activewear. We are at the Karen Country Lodge and you are watching The Other Side of Me. My first salary. Well, I did have a job straight after high school and I must have been 17. And I worked in the accounts department at Braeburn School because my mother was teaching there, so she got me a job and I really didn't do much. I think I pushed paper around, and if I remember correctly, my salary was 3,000 shillings. Yeah, that was a long time ago though. So what did I spend it on? I probably spent it on clothes. Okay, so the first car I bought was a Honda. I didn't start driving until quite late. I think I was in my late 20s when I started driving, and at that time, the reason I got my license was because I had a job that came with a car. So I didn't have to buy my own car. And it was only after I left that job that I had to buy one, and it was a Honda. What moment would I relive? There's so many, but maybe a recent one. So last year, I was turning 50, so a bunch of my friends surprised me. I was going on a trip to Morocco with my mother and a friend and his mother, and 10 of my friends showed up from different parts of the world, and they had this whole itinerary. So I had made a list of 50 things I wanted to do before I turned 50, and they went through the list and they ticked off like 6 or 7 of them, and they made sure that we did them on that trip. So one of the things was a camel ride. I wanted to ride a camel, and I wanted to spend the night in a desert. So what did I imagine my life would be? How did I envision my life when I was young? So I have a terrible, terrible memory. Like I have so few memories beyond, younger than 10, I think. But I have a book that I wrote as a class project when I was 6. I think everyone had to write a book and they had to answer certain questions. When I grow up, and I still have that book, right? So in it, it says, when I grow up, I want to get married and have 2 children, and they'll be girls. And I have 2 children and they're girls. So clearly there's power in some of these things, right? And then at that point I said I would be a teacher, which I'm definitely not. What do I hope to see for the future me? I don't ever want to feel that I'm too old to look ahead. So, I hope that even when I'm 80, I'll be making plans for when I'm 90. I hope that I will still be surrounded by people I love, and that my life will have adventure. I'll still be learning new things. I'll probably take up weight training when I'm 75, because right now I can't stand it. But yeah, I just want to keep growing, keep learning, keep expanding, keep having fun. So what are my best memories from Lion's Den? I can tell you what my worst memories are. No, let me start with the good ones. So, it's an intense, the filming is fun because you're seeing all kinds of people doing all kinds of pitches. You've never seen them before. You don't see them until they walk into the room. So I don't know if you've watched the show, but that people walk down these stairs. So when they open the door to walk in, that's the first time you're seeing them, and you're like, I really wonder what this person's going to talk about, because you don't know, right? And then they walk in and suddenly they're selling you an idea to sell bananas, or there was a guy who came on who's a medicine man, like a witch doctor. I think, I love the extraordinary ideas, and some were very silly, but some were actually pretty cool, and just meeting all those people. I think that was for me the fun part of the show. All right, so the hard part is that so I did this show for 2 seasons, and each season I gained 5 kilos each time. and then because what happens is there's all this time in between, you know? So you film one person and then you have to wait half an hour and they just feed you. So initially, Vivo was primarily about dance and fitness, which is why it's called activewear. So the inspiration was really the love of dance and fitness, in particular yoga, Pilates, and a few exercises that my co-founder and I both were doing. She was doing more Pilates, but we also started doing dance classes together. So we were doing salsa, hip hop, what else? Yeah, mostly those two, and we needed product. So that was the inspiration, is that we needed product that we could not find on the market. We figured we're not the only people who must be struggling to find these products. So why don't we fill the gap and bring them to Kenya? That was the initial inspiration. It has since evolved to something bigger and broader. So now it's more about dressing the modern African women in ways that truly complement, flatter, bring out the best in us. So that's the current inspiration. But like with many businesses, sometimes where you start isn't where you end up. Things evolve and new opportunities will come and the market will speak to you, and that will shape how you modify what your initial plan was. Yeah. How do I unwind? I love to unwind. I hang out with my friends and laugh a lot. Wine doesn't hurt. Champagne's even better. I do yoga, which I love. I try and do yoga 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week. And I find if I do it consistently, then I don't even need to unwind as much because I don't get as stressed. So one of the things that I really believe works exceptionally well is meditation, which I've learned how to do, but I haven't put it into enough of a practice, a regular practice. But it's, I think, by far one of the best ways to unwind. And yeah, it could be 5 minutes, could be 10 minutes. Some people meditate 20 minutes, half an hour, but even 5 minutes a day is very impactful. What's my favorite music? Depends on the day. So right now I'm really into like Afro-Cuban, sort of Latin style, reggaeton, kind of that sort of music. That just, what I like about it is the beat and the fact that I don't know what the words are. So what happens with me with music is if the words are really meaningful, then I'm focused on the words and I forget to sort of enjoy the music. So sometimes if it's in a different language that I don't speak, I can just enjoy the music and the beat, and it always makes me want to dance. Yeah, I really like Afrobeat as well. I'm trying desperately to learn how to do the Gwara Gwara move. My biggest life lesson, that we control our thoughts, or we can control our thoughts. I think for me, that changed so much of the way I saw things. Like when I realized that every thought is a story I'm telling myself, and I can choose the story, I can choose the thought, and I don't have to hold on to thoughts that aren't helping me, that don't make me happy. You could always choose another thought. And when I realized that, it's like, yeah, man, how many years did I waste? Like being stuck, believing that this was the truth, you know? This person doesn't care about me. And that's the truth. And that was my only truth. And that was just a story. You choose your thoughts. Maybe I shouldn't say control. Like you choose your thoughts, whether it's conscious or unconscious. So when I realized that, and I understood that if you want to, you can make a conscious effort to choose a different thought. When you're having a thought that doesn't work for you, you can choose a different one. It's not always as easy as, as it may sound, but it's also not impossible. And when in between employment and starting Vivo, I trained to be a life coach. So it was during that process that I understood this, and it's about perspective. So, you have a fan, and I can choose to look at it from the front and it looks one way, but if I look at it from the top, it's another way. And if I look at it, it's the same fan, but you're just choosing which perspective you're going to look at it from. And if this way makes me happy and this way makes me unhappy, then I'll just look at it this way. And it's the same with our thoughts, you just choose what perspective you're going to have. So, I mentioned I had a list when I was turning 50, my 50 by 50. So there are things I still haven't done on that. So those, I guess, is my bucket list still. So one is to go to Brazil. My mother, one of my brothers and I want to go, make it a family trip. Another one, you're gonna laugh, is to cook a meal for 5 friends. I've never cooked a meal for 5. I've never cooked a meal and invited people. Something else on my bucket list is to go on a silent retreat. So there are these retreats where you spend 10 days and you don't speak to anyone, you don't read a book, you don't watch TV, you don't listen to the radio, you just stay in silence, you and your thoughts and nothing else. Whose fashion sense do I admire? Michelle Obama. I think I admire her arms too, so she looks really good in everything she wears. But I like the fact that she's sophisticated and mature, but still flirty and fun, and she experiments, and it's still tasteful. I think we do have to age gracefully, but that doesn't mean we've got to start dressing like shoshos. We can still, celebrate the way we feel, and we don't necessarily always feel as old as we are, right? So when I look at the way Michelle dresses, I think there's a youthfulness to it, and yeah, she looks good. So I've lived in about 6 countries, and every single one has something special about it, even the ones I didn't enjoy as much as the others, but there's still something that was really special. But if I had to pick one other than Kenya, because Kenya's for sure my favorite place in the world, it would be a city, and it would be New York. And I think what I love about New York is just the fact that it is so full of energy. You get off the plane and you feel it, and it's a city where anything seems possible. Anyone can become anything, everyone fits in, nobody really cares. You can dress how you want. You can, you meet someone in a cab and he's driving a cab, but he's acting at night, and he's got a business on the side, and he's feeling good, and everything's gonna work out. So what am I most grateful for? I think, for sure, my family, and not just because they're my family, but because my parents, probably by accident, not necessarily by design, but they raised us in such a free way that I didn't have to unlearn anything to learn who I was. So I didn't, I meet people who are like, oh my God, I could never do that. I've been raised my whole life being told you should never, ever, 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 ever do this. And I'm like, wow, what was I told never to do? What else am I grateful for? I'm grateful for my kids for sure, because they keep they keep it real for me, They sort of bring back what really matters, because no matter how bad the day was, or whatever thoughts you allow to come into your head, you come home and your kids, something's happening with them, and nothing else matters. you know. So I'm very, very grateful. And what else am I grateful for? I'm grateful for my friends because I grew up in a family of boys. I only had brothers, and and I wasn't a tomboy, so I couldn't really play with them. Like, I wasn't climbing trees and catching tadpoles or whatever they used to do. So I needed people to, like, do girly things with, and so I gravitated to my friends, and some of those friends are still my closest friends. I mean, 40 something years later, I'm still very close to them, and we've kind of gotten to a point in life where be raw, be real, say exactly what's going on with you, hold each other up, cry together if you need to, get drunk together if you need to, laugh if you need, whatever it is. Like, I think it's a space where, we can be completely authentic and not have to keep up appearances, not have to worry about being judged. And yeah, there are many times in my life where I'm like, man, if I didn't have friends, I'm not sure how to make that through. So I'm really grateful for that. So thanks for watching The Other Side of Me. Bye-bye. Are we together in this thing? We're together. All right. You all look at me.
Okay, we're looking down now.
So thanks for watching The Other Side of Me. Hope you've enjoyed it. Ding, 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 ding. Can we do the guara guara, like, while I think about it, huh? You're looking at me like I'm crazy. All right, so you're gonna cut that out, right?